Welcome back, Globetrotters, to Travel Safety Tips with a Twist. Today, we're diving into the depths of the world's oldest underground system. That's right, we're in London, and we're talking about the one, the only, the tube. Now, riding the tube can be the fastest way to zip across the city, but we're here to make sure you do it safely and smartly, with a splash of British humor, because why not? Tip 1. Mind the gap between you and your valuables. First things first, the famous mind the gap. But what they don't tell you is to mind the gap between you and your phone, wallet, and sanity. The tube can get crowded and pickpockets are sneakier than the king's corgis after a scone. Keep your valuables close to you and maybe, just maybe, consider ditching that enormous camera bag that screams tourist. If you need a pic, do it discreetly and close to your body. Here's the twist. If you really want to blend in, carry a book instead. But not just any book. Make it something British, like a Sherlock Holmes novel, or a slightly pretentious Charles Dickens. Bonus points if you're just reading the cover to look like a local. Tip 2. Oyster Card 101, or how to look like a Londoner and save money. Now, you could buy a single ticket every time you ride the tube, but that's like buying individual tea bags. Silly and unnecessarily expensive. Instead, get yourself an Oyster card or use contactless pay. Not only is it cheaper, but you'll avoid holding up the line like a lost tourist. Trust me, you do not want to anger a queue of London commuters. They'll give you a death stare like you've just interrupted the king's tea. Here's a twist. If you're really in a bind, those lovely iconic red double-decker buses have the same fare caps as the tube for the day. And they come with a free view of the city. Hop on the top deck, pretend you're in a Harry Potter movie, and see London above ground for free after you hit that daily cap. Tip 3. The art of tube etiquette, or please don't be that person. Rule number 1. Stand on the right, walk on the left. Got it? You might think, it's just an escalator. But believe me, breaking this rule will get you judged faster than asking for ketchup at a British fish and chips shop. Stand on the left, and you'll have angry Londoners tutting at you faster than you can say, cheerio. The twist? If you accidentally end up standing on the left, embrace it. Go full-on clueless tourist mode. Maybe even ask for directions in a loud voice. They'll just think you're an eccentric American, and you might actually get some free help. Or at the very least, a funny story. Tip 4. Avoiding rush hour unless you're in it for the experience. Look, if you want to experience the true Londoner lifestyle, try the tube at rush hour. It's like a social experiment in British politeness and a game of human Tetris. But if you prefer to keep your personal bubble intact, avoid traveling from 7 to 9 a.m. and 5 to 7 p.m. It's literally standing room only, and sometimes not even that. Pro tip, if you do find yourself in the crush, practice your best sorry in a British accent as you accidentally elbow someone. It's basically an unspoken law here that if you say sorry, you're forgiven. Throw in a cheers, mate, and you'll blend in instantly. Tip 5. Stay cool and carry on. With some handy water and humor. Here's a secret not many tourists know. A lot of the tube isn't actually air-conditioned. In the summer, the underground can feel more like the underworld, if you know what I mean. Bring a water bottle, and if you see someone else looking like they're about to melt, offer them a smile. You'll need a good sense of humor to keep you cool. And remember, always carry on in true British fashion. A bit of stoicism, a dash of wit, and never let them see you sweat, even if you're sweating buckets. Tip 6. Exit strategy. Knowing your stations and saving your sanity. London stations can be a bit of a maze. There's often multiple exits and sometimes what seems like an endless walk to the surface. Know your exits in advance, especially at busy stops like King's Cross or Oxford Circus. I've seen tourists walk a mile underground before realizing they've been going in circles. Here's the twist. If you get lost, don't sweat it. Just ask a local, "Excuse me, where's the best place for a quick pint?" Chances are they'll know the way out, and where you can grab a pint to celebrate your escape. Tip 7. Tube carriage selection, the smart and comfy way. Think all train cars are created equal? Think again. The middle carriages are usually the most crowded, while the front and back are less packed. So when that train pulls up, skip the middle and make a beeline for the ends. Here's the twist. Want to look like a total London pro? Watch where people are standing on the platform. Locals know the best spots to stand to make a swift exit at their destination. Follow their lead and maybe you'll even snag a seat. Tip 8. How to handle mind the gap. like a Brit. Now, you've probably heard the famous "mind the gap" announcement. But did you know that "mind the gap" actually translates to "respect the space" in British etiquette? The twist? There's an unwritten rule on the tube. Personal space is precious. So, if you're riding, avoid eye contact, don't spread out, and if you're near someone, do the polite British thing and pretend they're not there. A simple nod will suffice if your eyes meet by accident. Tip 9. The legendary tube map. Your secret money-saving hack. Let's talk about the tube map. It's iconic, it's confusing, and it's also one of your best tools for saving money. Before hopping on, check if your destination is actually walkable from your starting point. Many popular stations like Leicester Square and Covent Garden are so close that walking is quicker than taking the train, and much cheaper. And here's the twist. Walking also gives you a bonus tour of London's best-kept secrets, like quirky side streets, cozy pubs, and fantastic street performers. Sometimes the best tube ride is the one you skip. Tip 10. Embrace the polite stare. Here's a tube survival skill they don't teach you. The polite stare. It's an essential tactic on crowded trains. Just pick a spot to focus on, like an advertisement or your shoes, and stay there. This is how Londoners avoid awkward situations without saying a word. And the twist? Practice the polite stare by focusing on something amusing. Maybe make a game out of counting all the people doing the exact same thing as you. Just don't actually stare at anyone. That's the quickest way to break the code. Tip 11. Navigating tube delays. The Brit way. It's bound to happen, the dreaded tube delay. But don't worry, tube delays are practically a national pastime in London. If you're caught in one, relax and do as the Brits do. Pull out your phone, give a deep sigh, and stare off into the middle distance. The twist? While you're waiting, scroll through some free Wi-Fi in certain stations, or better yet, catch up on those must-do in London lists. You'll fit right in with the locals if you look slightly annoyed while doing it. Tip 12. The escalator etiquette, advanced edition. We covered basic tube escalator etiquette, standing on the right, walking on the left. But here's the advanced version. When you reach the top, keep moving. It's like a sport to see who can clear the exit area the fastest. Londoners are pros at this, and nothing ruins their day more than someone just standing there. And the twist? You can always throw in a cheers to anyone you bump into. Politeness is key, even in a rush. Just don't be too friendly, or you'll leave everyone wondering if you're part of a comedy act. Tip 13. Choose your station music. Yes, really. Some tube stations play calming classical music over the loudspeakers. Why? Apparently, it makes everyone feel a little less stressed. But here's the twist. Choose your station based on what vibe you're in the mood for. If you hear Mozart, chill and enjoy. If there's no music, maybe it's your cue to switch to your own playlist. So if you're in a rush and the tube's feeling hectic, let the music, or lack thereof, guide you. It's practically a British spa treatment. Tip 14. Late-night tube travel. A British adventure. Riding the tube late at night? It's a whole different experience. You'll find a mix of chatty groups, sleepy travelers, and people just trying to get home after a long day at the pub. Safety is key here, so stay near the driver if you're on an empty train or ride in a busier car for company. The twist? If you end up in a funny conversation with a local on the late-night tube, just roll with it. You might end up with some free advice on the best local pub or some very British life wisdom. Don't worry, they'll probably forget by morning. Tip 15. Take a fake call. To avoid a real interaction. Londoners are polite, but they also value their space. If someone's being a little too chatty or you just need an excuse to avoid a conversation, try the classic fake phone call technique. Everyone does it at some point. The twist? Make up a ridiculous conversation like, "Yes, I told the king I'd bring biscuits to tea." It's a great way to get a laugh, and you'll blend right in with the creative Londoners who do this daily. So, there you have it. Your ultimate guide to the London Underground, with tips that'll make your journey safer, smoother, and a lot more fun. Don't forget to mind the gap, hold on to your belongings, and embrace the British quirks along the way. Thanks for watching Travel Safety Tips with a Twist. Hit that like button, subscribe for more hilarious and helpful tips, and remember, no matter where you go, keep it quirky and safe.